What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 11, episode 12. So look, we pick up where we left off last week with Erica having a full meltdown. Now, what we have found out since last week is that that moment was a whole moment. She got into it with production. You know, there was a whole screaming match, and what we're seeing, I feel like is the aftermath of all of that happened. Like, those ladies were stunned. Like, you could hear a pin drop, and I don't think it was just because of Garcelle and Erica's exchange. I think it's because of what happened after that, with Erica getting into it with production and everything. Garcelle was very apologetic, very, very apologetic. And she was like, listen, and Crystal was defending her. Crystal was like, listen, she did not hear that. She did not hear Erica say, I don't want to talk about this. Please don't bring it up with the other ladies. And you could see that Garcelle was upset. I mean, Garcelle was even getting ready to leave. She was getting ready to walk away and leave. Kathy Hilton actually was the one that asked her to stay. You know, she was apologetic. Erica was like, don't worry about it. You're good. We're fine. You're good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Eventually, Erica did leave, though. Erica was like, listen, I got stuff to take care of. I just need to go. And it almost became a divided camp. You had Garcelle, Crystal, and Sutton inside the house, and the rest of the ladies were outside of the house with Erica while she waited for her car. And, you know, again, they were very, very apologetic and everything. Garcelle felt some kind of way about the whole way Lisa Rinna was acting. She felt like Lisa Rinna was sort of kind of like coming for her a little bit, you know, kind of coming for her. And Lisa Rinna understands the assignment. Lisa Rinna, Kenya Moore, Giselle Bryant, like, they understand the assignment. They know what they're here for. And so, of course, she had a moment where she said to Garcelle, well, why did you feel the need to ask that question? And Lisa went on to talk about how she feels like Garcelle has been making little jabs, and Garcelle does little things. And y'all know shady ass Bravo started showing footage of Garcelle asking Erica some very specific questions and like sort of drilling her a little bit. Now, we know that Garcelle asks some nosy ass questions, because I feel like sometimes Garcelle be doing too much, okay? But that is, again, Garcelle understands the assignment as well. And I don't know if she asked these things because she just nosy as hell, or if production is kind of pushing her in that direction. But neither here nor there. That's kind of what it was. Now, earlier in the day, though, they said, listen, Erica was very much talking and open and sharing, and it just seemed like something must have happened. Now, we're going to find out later on that the next day, because I ain't got time to drag that part out because I might forget. The next day, that whole story broke in the LA Times, which was like a full expose of the whole situation, and it really dug into how deep this whole situation went and how long it had been going on for. But we're gonna put a pin in that. Let's get back to where we are. You know, of course, the ladies are being very empathetic because they're like, listen, Erica's whole world has changed. I mean, Erica has definitely gone from living in the lap of luxury to now, like, not even knowing, hell, is she gonna be going to jail or not, you know? Garcelle and Crystal go back to the hotel to get dressed for dinner. They're having dinner, and listen, Kathy Hilton said, look, we ain't going out to no restaurant. Let's just order from Ruth's Chris. And she proceeds to read the whole menu of Ruth's Chris. Now, why that was funny, I don't know. But they seem to find it hilarious that she was reading down the menu to the Ruth's Chris. Listen, I like me some Ruth's Chris. I like their sweet potato casserole, and I like their cream spinach. So I don't know why they thought it was so funny, but either way they did. The ladies are getting dressed for dinner in the house. Kathy is like, I'm not understanding why we are getting glammed up to sit in the house to eat dinner, but it is what it is. You know, I guess that's what we doing, you know. Y'all know who had to be over the top and overdressed, as always, was who? Dorit. Dorit comes down in a whole Gucci bodysuit that's like sheer with like the... Listen, who... What's Sutton say? Sutton said something to her about being something about a rejected disco dancer or some shit. But it was funny as hell because it was ridiculous. Dorit, it was absolutely ridiculous. You could have just as nicely worn some jeans with some stilettos and that same top or something like that. You were doing the most. It was too much. And I get it that y'all want to glam it up. I get it that that is what y'all feel like we expect from y'all as the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm here for all of it. And you can be glitz and glamour without, that was just Girl, Dorit, you was just doing the much. I mean, doing the most. Now, the other thing was Miss Sutton had the nerve to say that Erica was being a little dramatic. Sutton, really? Did you not have to bring out a whole face roller to calm you down after Crystal called you out for saying that you don't see color? Girl, if you don't go sit down somewhere. This woman's whole life is falling apart. Whether we think Erica knew about it or not, whether we think she was complicit or not, this woman, in this moment, every day it is something different and something new. And her whole life is falling apart. Girl, if you don't go sit down somewhere. Now, the ladies get there for dinner. And they, they ask, has anybody talked to Erica? And Kyle said, yes, I texted with Erica. She's home safely. And they were like, Garcelle said, well, I texted her too. Well, did she respond? She said, well, I didn't expect her to, but I just wanted her to know once again that I did apologize and that, I really did feel bad. Like, I really, really wanted to just let her know I felt bad, At dinner, they ended up getting into a conversation about race. Listen, Sutton said, I ain't in that. I'm sitting on the end of this table. I'm going to keep eating my sauteed spinach and they can have it. I learned my lesson. I'm not in it. And Kathy Hilton said what I think most white people think is what we want to hear that's going to make us feel better. I'm sorry. Let me put a pin in that and rewind. Lisa Renner tried to get into the Garcelle, asking her, can she own any of what happened? Did she hold any responsibility? Does she feel like in that moment she could have done anything different? Garcelle was like, no, I don't think I did anything wrong. I don't hold any responsibility. But she did say that maybe it was the wrong place, wrong time type of thing. She said ultimately she was just trying to make Lisa feel happy. I was like, yeah, okay. Again, Lisa understands the assignment. Moving on. Back to the race thing. I think that most white people feel like that's the right answer to say, well, I don't see color. But what Garcelle was saying, and it's valid, and I've said that before, when someone says to you, I don't see color, then what you're saying is, I don't see you. And I know people think that that's what we want to hear, and they think that's the right thing to say, but it's not. Like Garcelle said, before you know anything about me, before you know that I'm smart, before you know I'm intelligent, before you know I'm talented, before you see black, you see my color, and to say that you don't see that, it's not okay, because it's in essence what you're saying is you don't see me. But Kathy said she asked Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson said that was fine. And again, different place, different time, and I'm okay with Kathy Hilton dropping her Michael Jackson. Okay, I'm okay with her saying, well, I asked Michael and he was cool. Okay. And then Garcelle did what I think she always does. Sometimes I feel like she just goes too far, because then she said something to Dorit about something about the help or something, and she was like, well, Dorita, are all the help in your house people of color? And Dorit was like, no. And she was like, and Garcelle's been to my house and she knows that they're not. Like, come on, Garcelle, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. But I think the point she was trying to make, she was like, have any of you guys ever had to have a conversation with your kids about getting pulled over by the police? Like, have you and again, what she's trying to get them to understand is, you may have the best of intentions. It's not with any malice, but you have a luxury that you don't even understand that you have. And when people say white privilege, I get it that as a white person, you want to be offended by that. But the privilege is that you don't even understand or realize that you have the privilege. The privilege is that it has never crossed your mind, and you have to have a conversation with your kids about how they need to get pulled over by the police, what they need to do and not do. You've never had to teach your kids that the police may not always be there to help you. And that is the privilege. And so they had that conversation. And again, I think, what Crystal was saying, Crystal talked about, things that were done and said to her as, as a Chinese American, and the things that she dealt with. And she said, but I think that the great thing is that we in this space can have the conversation. And she said, and that's why I think it's important to have the conversation, which is why she sort of pushed back so hard on Sutton at the beginning of the season. And I was here to support that. Like, I was absolutely here for it, and I supported it, but I thought it was a good moment. And I thought that, I felt like they were there to hear it, Sometimes just listen. When someone is trying to tell you their truth, don't always try to push back and defend what your reality is. Just let them talk. Moving on. So, When they got done, Kyle was like, well, can you do me a favor? Can you guys, everybody just bring their dish and scrape it off and put it in the dishwasher? Why do we act like Kyle asked them to scrub to scrub the bathrooms and clean the toilet? Dorit was like, oh my gosh, Kyle. I mean, if you needed help, we could have all chipped in. Kyle was like, what are you talking about? I have somebody coming to clean up, but I don't have a on staff housekeeper. Like, remember, it's still COVID, Dorit. Like, it's not that and I felt like, you know, Kyle was like, it's not that I can't afford one. Like, what is wrong with you? You know, and let's remember, they already had a whole cleaning crew come in and clean up after y'all nasty asses that first night that y'all left food and shit all over the place. Okay? Like, Dorit, girl, it was one dish carrying it to the sink to scrape it off to put in the dishwasher. Ain't nobody asked you to do no deep cleaning. Calm down. I was like, she said, what kind of vacation is this? Girl, what? The kind of vacation where you got to get your nasty ass up off the damn couch and scrape your plate and put it in the dishwasher. Girl, I said, why these women be acting like they were born with such privilege? Like, y'all didn't grow up like that. Kathy Hilton, who's probably had the most money for the longest amount of time, ain't had no problem picking up her damn plate and didn't complain about none of that shit. The rest of y'all nouveau rich asses be acting like y'all can't. Ugh, y'all do too much. Dorit, you was at the top of that list. Moving on. So, Garcelle and Crystal end up going back to the hotel, and the ladies have like a good little kiki. They actually have a good moment of joking, and they're talking about the fact that Harry Hamlin has put acrylic nails on his hand. He's playing guitar, and he doesn't want to use a pick, so he does acrylic nails in order to be able to do it. And it is funny, and it's a light kiki moment because, whew, it's been a lot. So the next morning is when the story hits, and of course, everybody's reading the story because whether they were going to read that story or not, I'm sure production said, read this, okay? So they're having the whole conversation, and again, it's a long article. It is a very long article, and it is given a lot more detail. And this is the article where we first find out that money was being funneled through Erica's company. Let me tell y'all something. Sutton broke that thing down for y'all, and Sutton let y'all know beyond a shadow of a doubt. At the end of the day, whether Erica was knowledgeable or not, that money was taken out of those accounts and run through her company. She's in trouble. Then they talked about the involuntary bankruptcy, which of course they didn't seem to understand. I'm like, what do y'all not understand about the word involuntary and the word bankruptcy? You put them together, now you have the definition. Why y'all acting like y'all don't understand? Now I know that most people, because I had never really heard of an involuntary bankruptcy before either, but I know what the hell it meant. It meant that he is being forced to file bankruptcy, and at the end of the day, all this money that y'all thought Erica was gonna get, or at least Erica probably thought she was gonna get, no ma'am, Pam, ain't no money there to get. And like I've been saying for the last 3 episodes, Erica, if life was really hard and you was really ready to leave your husband, you'd have left your husband 2 or 3 years ago, because again, you didn't have a prenup, so you didn't have no motivation to stay other than you wasn't really ready to leave until you saw this storm on the horizon. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's my opinion. And Sutton was like, listen, what y'all need to understand is they're using the word Ponzi scheme. And at the end of the day, we can sit here and we can, you know, all we want, talk about Erica this and Erica that, and oh, that's our friend and that's whatever. But at the end of the day, Erica in trouble. And they got to talking, and you know, Dorit, well, I've known Erica for 5 years, and you've known Erica for 6 years. Here go Kathy. I don't know her. I don't know her. I said, I love Kathy Hilton. Kathy said, you ain't putting that shit on me. I don't know her. I don't know her. So, they pack up and they go on back to, LA, and honey, Sutton calls a meeting. And of course, we see Dorit talking to her husband about it. They talking about the situation. But Sutton calls a meeting. And they have the meeting over at Dorit's house. And Sutton says, listen, I'm going to just go on and keep it real with y'all. I don't feel comfortable being around Erica while this is going on. One, because all this shit just don't make no sense to me. Okay? I still feel like it's a whole lot that we don't know. It's a whole lot that isn't being said. And I'm not comfortable filming. I ain't comfortable being around her. And y'all might want to question it your damn selves. And this is the part that cracked me up. Because, mind you, in their confessionals, all of the ladies are saying the same thing. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's questioning Erica. Well, was Erica telling the truth? Was Erica doing this? Was Erica doing that? Now, all of a sudden, everybody got something to say. But at the end of the day, they're going to say to Sutton, well, will you say that to Erica's face? Oh, so here's the thing. All of y'all agree, but y'all scared of her. Y'all scared of her? Sutton said, yeah. And I believe her. I believe Sutton would say it to Erica's face. I do. I believe it. That I believe. So we're sort of at that point now where the ladies are starting to sort of question Erica's what's going on with Erica and what she knew and how much she knew. You know, like I said, I don't know what her lawyers told her, but I cannot imagine that her lawyers thought this was a good idea. She's just opening herself up to way too much for me. But it is what it is. That was the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.